How's it going, everybody? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be doing a really interesting video about coins that are going to be worth hundreds, thousands, and hundreds of thousands of dollars solely because they do not have a mint mark. And for the most part, these coins are going to be really recent. They are pretty difficult to come by. They wouldn't be worth so much if they, were easy to get. But the coins that we're going to be talking about are things like the 1982 dime, the 68 dime, the 1990 penny, all without mint marks on some of the coins. Now, a fair amount of these coins are going to be proof no mint mark, and I'll definitely make sure to mention that, and we'll go over the difference between proof and business strike coins at the end of the video. But there's a lot to learn here, and there probably will be some no S coins that you'll know to look for. For example, I always check. I have a bunch of proof sets that I got, so you can find some of them in those sets, but you want to know what to look for, and this video is going to do just that. We're also going to talk about their value. So now we're going to head over to a presentation that I'll talk over for the complete overview. I've got 8 coins that we're going to focus on today. So the first coin that we're going to be talking about today is number 8, the 1982 no mint mark dime. The coins were made with P or D mint marks, which were located right above the date to signify whether they were from Philadelphia or Denver. This was the first year that this was done. Before, it would only mean that it was from Denver. If there was a mint mark, no mint mark was indicative of a Philadelphia. But in 1982, they switched. However, there were several thousand of these that ended up omitting the mint mark by accident. There were a fair amount of these as compared to many of the other coins that we're going to be taking a look at today, but this coin's still fairly valuable. It pays to check your 1982s, and this is $100 to $1,000 in value, and the coin is a business strike, so it's just a regular strike. This is not going to be something that you're going to be looking for in proof sets. Number 7 is a little bit different because this is definitely going to be a no S proof dime, whereas the last one was a regular strike dime, and you can see the proof surfaces here. We'll be going over what a proof is at the end of the video as well. This coin was a lot more rare. About 500 of these or so were made, so as opposed to a lot of thousands, just a few here. And this one, though, is probably the least valuable of the no S coins. There's a fair amount of dimes that are rarer with the no S, whereas in some of the other cases, it's like the only proof no S coin in a certain denomination. But the bottom line is that the value is still substantial. It pays to check those 1970 sets. This one will be between $300 and $800, which is a significant amount of money. But the number there does kick up a fair amount through the number 6 1983 no S proof dime. This coin also had several hundred made, probably a little bit less than 500 is the estimate. But one really important thing and interesting thing to note is that whereas a lot of the other coins are not in the deep cameo, that's like a really good cameo, really deep surfaces and strike. On the 1970, a lot of them were just regular proof, whereas the 1983 strikes were almost all deep cameo. So what happens is that a lot of these coins are in higher grades, and the coin is probably a $500 to several $1,000 coin before it hits the proof 70 designation. But the 83 has a fair amount of proof 70 graded coins, and those will get the types of values that the $10,000 upper range number represents. Number 5, we have the 1971 no S proof nickel, and this is the only proof nickel without an S mint mark that's known. So the coin is pretty appealing, especially for somebody who really likes the Jefferson series. And the mint mark should be found right here as I'm circling, or also over here as indicated in this diagram provided by PCGS CoinFacts. And the value on this is about $800 in the lowest conditions, and it does kick up to, again, $10,000, similar to the last one, though I don't think that there are as many proof 71s of this reported. Rather, it's just pretty rare because of its status as the only one, and on top of that, less than 500 of them were made as well. Number 4, we have the 1922 no D penny. And this one's pretty interesting and definitely not too like the other ones. This one is very rare to find in pocket change or something like that. But I've actually found one going through a bunch of unsearched wheat pennies in the coin shop. And there were many of these made, as opposed to some of the other ones that we're talking about where it's maybe 1,000, maybe 500, maybe 200. with these, there were a lot made, and the $1,000 value represents at the very low end of what you're going to be getting, and there are a lot of these that are super circulated, whereas on the other ones, none of them are circulated, and then that's why this is able to go up to about $50,000, because a really high-end, well-preserved one is super valuable. You do need to note the possibility that it's a weak D. The coins were only supposed to be made at the Denver Mint Mark. I don't know if I already said that, but sometimes the D is just really, really faded, but it is there, and that's not a 1922 no D penny, though it still can be worth a little bit of extra money. The coin also has some strong and weak reverse examples, and the strong reverse are a lot better because it means it's a strong strike still emitting that Denver Mint Mark. So take a close look at 1922, or just keep your eyes peeled for it when you're going through some wheat pennies. Number 3, we have the only no S proof penny that is in existence. This one was from the 1990 proof sets, and I've checked a bunch of 1990 proof sets, have not found this. Obviously, all of these proof no S coins are very rare, but under 200 of these have been made, so it's pretty scarce, in addition to being the only no S proof penny, and the values on this are pretty high. $3,000 is the lower range, which is a lot higher than some of the past ones that we've been taking a look at, and it can also get to the $10,000 mark, which is definitely a lot of money to be paying for a 1990 penny that just forgot a mint mark. Coming in at number 2, we have the 1968 no S proof dime, and this coin is super, super rare. There were only about 24 certified and a few dozen estimated to have been made. So obviously the prices are going to be a lot higher on this because it's a very scarce coin, though obviously not as scarce as the number 1. But the values on this are really, really high. $10,000 is the mark that people are paying if you can find one of these, no matter what the condition is. That's kind of been established so far. Then if you get lucky and have a really well preserved proof set with this coin, becomes a $35,000 coin. So this one really does pay to check. And the thing is, there are people who have found these by checking their proof sets. The way that these happened with these proof coins is that they just forgot to add them and sent them out of the mint. That's what most people think. And then some people think that they're deliberately made. But I think with the ones that have a lot more being produced, they definitely were an error, whereas it's dubious for the really rare ones. But I'm going to take you to number 1, and that is one that only two examples exist of the 1975 no S proof dime. Again, obviously the mint mark would be right here, and the value is between $200,000 and $350,000, that higher mark having been paid for one of these two that exist. This would be an incredible numismatic find if you can get one, but remember, it has to be proof. If the coins that you're getting are not proof and they don't have a mint mark, unfortunately, that's not a special coin. There were definitely hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of these regular 1975 no S dimes. They aren't worth anything. It has to be the proof one. And so this one is really the incredible kind of masterpiece of these no S coins. Now let me show you what I'm talking about here with the proof versus business strike. Online I found somebody who had posted this thinking that they had a 1990 no S. This coin, apologize for the resolution, but this one is the proof. It has proof surfaces, a frosted kind of raised bust and lettering, but really cameo deep surfaces on the side, whereas this is kind of the same throughout, and it's definitely not the same as this proof one. Often the rims are also sharper or better compared with a regular business strike, but if you have one, you can always send it to an online forum. I'm not the best. I'm not going to try to diagnose these for you, but if you have these proof no S coins, you're in for a serious financial treat, or you may just possess a really valuable coin yourself. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't already, I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay in contact with me on my Instagram, TreasureTownYT, Facebook, TreasureTown, or my website, TreasureTownYT.com. And I love receiving packages from you guys. I'll unbox them in a video once I get enough. And my address for that is TreasureTown, P.O. Box 201, Greenwich, Connecticut, 06836. So I'll see you on some of my other videos.